Alright, what's up? This is going to be my guide for Paladin on Season 11, and kind of a short discussion about Season 11 so far. I started a little bit late. Um, I got from Paragon level 0 to Paragon level 200 in one day. Paladin is kind of insane. It's just like the Spiritborn problem. It's like every time they put out a new class, it has to be the most overpowered thing, and then they nerf it pretty much to non existence the next season. I hope they don't do it during the mid-season patch, but I don't think so. I think they really want to sell their expansion, so I don't think that's happening. But I want to just do a quick guide on what I did. Um, Sold a couple items. I had like 40 billion gold, but I spent it to get some of the good items. I actually just crafted my last grand gem. I've collected all the gems myself. I didn't buy any gems. Um, but I'll never get this lucky ever again. In Diablo, I started the season getting two of the sigils to drop the 5 mythics. The only thing that sucked is out of all the 10 mythics that dropped, it didn't drop the three that I needed. I had to melt them down and actually roll on caches. I think I rolled 5 caches and I got uh, my mythics that I needed. But I'll never get that lucky again on the start, I'm sure. Um, First things first, as a general discussion, I want to talk about the new system with the sanctification and the masterworking. Um, I think it's very cool that you can masterwork your gear um, like more times now. What's really dumb though is it's not 25 times. They said it was going to be 25 times. It's not. It's like 6 times because every time gives you like 4 levels. Um, and I think the sanctification is an awesome system, except for there's one part. Who put this in the game? Fire, the guy that made it lock the item. See how when you sanctify it's unmodifiable? There needs to be an item that takes this tag off your item so you can roll stuff on it. It's no fun to get like the perfect item and then it not be the perfect item because the final steps just scuffs it. Like this, it sanctified holy damage, which I'm not too mad about because it helps consecration, but it's just absolutely dumb that it locks the like everything on the item. Um, I don't like that at all. Please give me an item that not. It doesn't even have to unsanctify the item. Just make it so I can take the unmodified tag off for like one roll, and then if I got like, let's say there's a scrolls, right? Don't know when they are. Scrolls of Restoration. This lets you re-roll tempering charges. Why can't this just let you roll? I got 140 of them. I should be able to change my sanctification 140 times with these. I mean, they're already in the game. There's already a solution. They just didn't. It's like they didn't think about it when they put it in. Again, I have gotten like 20 resplendent sparks this season. I had to melt a bunch of them to get the mythics that I actually wanted, but mixed mythics that I actually got were actually kind of cracked. Um, so I'm playing an advanced build. We're going to talk about this too. Why this is a problem. It's not really a problem, but I don't know why it plays like this. I'll just do like a 75 just to show you how it plays. Um, Here, I'll show you as I'm doing it. Um, I'm not quite sure why Advance Paladin is literally Frenzy Barb, or at least like Frenzy Barb I've always wanted to be like good. Because that's exactly what it plays like. You left click everything, it's dead, and it seems to chain everything around too. Um, I'm sure that's Painting Order's gauntlets. We'll talk about the gear after the run. But I'm not quite sure why they took something that could have been already in the game on another class and like stuck it on Paladin. It seems like they did a lot of that with this. They took a lot of skills from like Diablo 3. They put a lot of skills into like bait people into like Diablo 2 nostalgia, but they're not the same, not even close to the same thing. So yeah, basically you just walk around, left click everything. You honestly don't even have to use the other skills. I just like to like consecration. It kind of kills everything that walks into it. Um, Fortress is like just gives you a resolve when you run through it. So they're worth casting every now and again. But honestly, you could just at my level of gear, you could just left click everything. You wouldn't have to even worry about the other skills. Again, I click them sometimes just because. But yeah, it plays. It feels like Frenzy Barb that also teleports to your targets. So it's like, again, I don't understand why this couldn't have been Frenzy. But again, I guess they gotta sell their new class, so that's fine. I'm sure this isn't the strongest Paladin build of the season either. I just went on Maxroll, which I'll put in the description. I'll put the Maxroll guide in for this. However, I'll show you the changes I made to that build. So that's the run. Stupidly easy to play. Like, you left click everything. Everything's dead. We'll go over the glyphs that you should use, just because I'm here. Challenger, Chip, Outmatch, Sentinel, Spirit. I'm sure they're interchangeable, but these are the ones I found. This is all about crit strike damage, this build, and I'll show you why. Stuff. Which we're going to do right now. I'll explain my Paragon boards. I did not follow the guide for my Paragon boards. I just did what made sense. So, skill tree. Talk about your starter. If you want to start out playing Advance, which I don't recommend you do, I'd recommend you play Blasted Shield up to like 60, Paragon like 40, 50, somewhere in there. Just to get rolling in T1 so you can find some items. Advance, you put 5 points in Advance, and you have to pick this one. Advance becomes a Juggernaut skill is what matters here. The Resolve matters a little bit, but you're going to be dashing around so much, you're always gaining Resolve anyway, so the main tag here is that it's a Juggernaut skill. I'm not sure why we increased our maximum faith. I actually don't know. I think it's more damage. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's more damage because of this. But we'll talk about that when we get to the items. Your number one most important thing you want to get is On Guard. Basically, this gives you a 100% block chance eventually. And I'll show you how I got there. I actually just hit 100% block like yesterday. As many points as you can get on guard is better because you don't have to put the points in the Paragon board. You don't have to get it on items. You just get it off this skill tree node. But I have 12 points in, 12 out of 3. Could have more. You should probably have less. Every god I saw, you should only have 9 points in here total. Get the rest of your boards and stuff. But I just wanted to cap yesterday and not look at it again. Riposte, obviously, because you're blocking all the time, this is just 24% damage increase. I have 1 in all the other skills because of my Shroud of False Death. Fanaticism Aura, again, this is playing on D2 Nostalgia. This has nothing to do with it. Fanaticism Aura from that game. Basically what this does is increases your attack speed every time you crit, which is on every single hit because this is a 100% crit build. So it just makes you attack really fast, which I guess is what Fanaticism Aura did in D2, but the active weaken nearby enemies, it doesn't do anything because they're dead. Like you hit them and they're instantly dead. So I guess the attack speed isn't lying, but until you get 100% crit, it kind of is. And you have to get this node, Rites of Vengeance, because it makes critical strikes trigger this every time, so your attack speed's always up. Obviously 4 points there. I wish I could put another point in there, but I have to have this other stuff too. Next ability, again, I never actually click it, it's just here for what it does. It just gives you 30% armor and resist, which is insane for just having it on your bar. Obviously 10% life passively, and Rite of Might. You can't use these other. Rite of Might, again, it's another passive that just increases your damage, and you, like I said, you're always gaining resolve just by like walking around. So, Defiant Sword is awesome. A 1-point wonder there. Falling Star. I want to talk about Falling Star. This is the only skill in the whole build that doesn't seem very intuitive at first, because it's not Juggernaut, it's not anything. This does actually, it seems to scale faster than the other skills. Does a crap ton of damage, no. But you're not really using it for the damage. This is your mobility skill. This button, when you press it, you can just leap to like anywhere you want. I'll give you an example. So Falling Star does this. Still in town, technically? Okay. Because you stack cooldown and destruction on this build, you can pretty much always use it. Now, what's insane about Falling Star, it's not just that it's mobility, it's that, let's say there's a cliff here. There's a cliff. Let's pretend there's a cliff here. You could just skip the cliff. Yeah, it's an insane mobility skill, and it lets you jump over literally anything in the game, which is crazy. Like, even though the Paladin's mobility isn't great, it's actually insane with Falling Star. So you want to get Falling Star. This node has one additional charge. This, in conjunction with being like a cooldown reduction build, makes it so it's like almost always up. You hit a monster and it resets a charge, and because you have 2 charges, it pretty much is always up. You could try the other nodes, but I wouldn't recommend it. And then this Enhanced Falling Star does nothing. You just want the extra charge, just so you don't, when you leap, you hit something and you get a charge back. These 2 nodes are extremely late game. You can skip these until you get to like mythic level of gear. I'm always fortified because a different interaction I'll explain later, but this is more damage. Critical strike damage when I'm fortified. And these are just stupidly late game nodes. I'll explain how you get fortified in a second. These 2 are obviously not optional. Well, maybe this one is. You deal more damage to vulnerable, which they're not really vulnerable a lot, but it's more damage when they are. But this isn't. This is completely you need this high clear and high charity. Again, it's just kind of a CDR build, so the more you can get in any way is good. Now, the next skill I want to talk about is when you're first starting out. So you want to level advance from like level, I don't know, 50 to Paragon like 120. right? You're not going to have enough cooldown to have consecration up all the time. Basically, the cooldown of this skill needs to be lower than 10 seconds because the pattern it puts on the ground lasts 10 seconds. So me, I can have overlapping patterns for about 4 seconds. Until your cooldown on this is lower than 10 seconds, don't put points here. What I would recommend you get is Rally, and you go for the cost life button, because your life on hit will heal back this amount. Literally any amount of life on hit. Doesn't matter. Like you'll heal this back just by hitting a monster. And when you first start playing this, you do have faith problems. So this solves both. This makes you move faster. So if you don't have enough cooldown, you can run around. You can still kind of speed farm, and it gives you your faith back. So until consecration is below 10-second cooldown, you don't want to play Rally. Words of Sacrifice. Next couple nodes, crit strike damage. Again, it's a critical strike damage build. Plus, I mean, there's a lot of stats in this build that matter, but I'll explain the ones that are big when we get to the gear. Crit strike damage, damage reduction. Well, you get more crit against weakened enemies, which they always are, because it should be standing in like anything that weakens them. And then heavyweight, you don't take damage on this build. Like you get to a point where I think you're like pretty much immortal. So this is just more crit strike damage. Another mandatory node is Mastercraft work. You want to stack armor on this build just because it's easy to get, and shields block chance, which is 100%. So you get what, 200, literally 200% armor just from this node. I tried all the ultimates. You can literally have any one of them, whichever one you like. However, obviously the Juggernaut one is probably the one you want because you're a Juggernaut build. Again, you can play the other ones, but like why? They don't really synergize. Issue with Fortress is I find myself not casting it anymore because I'm moving too fast to like even stand in this. And the node every guide recommends is this one. But this is for, again, like low Paragon or leveling this way. This makes you immortal when you're in your fortress. However, I've noticed now that I'm like Giga geared out in high level, it doesn't. Again, I don't take damage anyway. So what would this ever do for me? So I switched to Rampart of Thorns, which counts as a crowd control against bosses, so they take more damage. And it acts as like a second consecration now because they take thorns damage while they're inside it. So I can put like 3 huge circles down on the ground that just hurt everything now. And you can try the other ultimates if you want. They're fine. 3 more mandatory nodes. Giant Slayer. Damage against elites is always good. I'm not quite sure how these nodes work. I just know they're insane. This just gives you, I think, 20% damage just for wearing a unique weapon. And this one just gives you 20% damage. Just ignore damage. So like every 5th hit, it just does nothing to you, which you're not taking damage anyway. So now you're really not like, you're just negating every 5th hit. And I'm pretty sure it includes spells. As your final node, Coat of Arms. I think this is where Blizzard made a mistake. I think what they meant to do is have this be like a fun, like, the Paladin is a Juggernaut, like, he can stack armor and block, but I think this Coat of Arms, like, because it's a multiply, I think it's like way too high. I think this is like the Spiritborn double dipping Jaguar thing. I think that's what this does. These other nodes are terrible. I think every build in the game uses a coat of arms right now because again, I think they messed up the behind the scenes numbers on this. Um, I'm really hoping when they fix Paladin that they make Zealot like playable and make reduce this to costing like 50% more, and then I think people might play it. And I wanted to play a Zealot like when they were advertising this because to me that was like the frenzy, super fast attacking. Um, I really thought that's what the build. I thought Zeal was going to be a skill that was going to be super fun with this, but it turns out that kind of sucks. Again, I hope when they fix the Paladin stuff, they make this a viable option. Okay, enough ranting about what I want. Back to the guide. Obviously, you want the Juggernaut Oath. It's mixing so every 8 stacks resolve, which again, like it's just by hitting stuff you get 8 stacks. You just get bigger and you do like 3 times damage. The other oaths are for the other builds. Again, I hope Zealot like is good next season, but let's talk about the gear. Let's start with the items that make the whole thing work. To start out, first item you're looking for, no matter what, is March of the Star Wars Soul. Don't really care about the evade charges. Don't care about movement speed. What's big here is chance for Advance to deal double damage, which is crazy. It comes with all the stats you want. It's got double damage to Advance ranks, and the unique gives it ranks and more damage. This item is once you get this item, you can literally just start playing Advance. Mine rolled insane, sanctified with even more quality, and it like yellowed everything out. And it almost capped my Advance, deals double damage by itself. Sad part is, it's again sanctified, so they're stuck this way. If I could, I'd re-roll it to try to get all these to orange. But sticking with the gear we got because sanctification system sucks. Well, it's good, but it sucks. I don't know. Alright, next item in order that you're going to want, believe it or not, I thought it was the sword. It kind of is the sword, but it's kind of the sword and the gloves at the same time. The gloves, again, mine are kind of crazy. Attack speed doesn't really matter, you attack so fast anyway with advanced. What matters is cooldown reduction. The stun isn't so great, but plus 8 to basic skills is crazy. Again, if I could roll it, if they changed the way the sanctification works, I'd roll to try to orange out the basic skills. And again, this one rolled more item quality. I think I found these off like my first kill, Lord's Ear, and they're literally like 4GA. 4GA perfect splash. Basically, what this does is it makes your frenzy chain even more. The wording on these is horrible, but if you've ever played Diablo 3 and you hit with frenzy and the mighty weapon that makes the frenzy chain, that's what these do essentially. And shard, again, these 2 items you want to get. I just bought this shard yesterday. It's the first 4GA one that I saw. Before this, I think I had like a 1GA one. Pretty much the same exact stats, except for it had less to basic skills. Again, I sanctified, it got holy damage, which I guess I can't be too mad about. It only really helps consecration, but again, I bought these off a friend. He linked me that he got a 4GA one, and he wanted like 5 bill or something, which was an insane deal for something like this. Yeah, I went from a 1GA one to a 4GA one. And the only stats that really matter is 5 to basic skills. pants. You have to put on your pants the Indomitable, which is its first. Gain 122% armor. Again, everything in this build for some reason is increased by your armor and your blockchains. Again, it's locked because it's freaking sanctified. But if I could unsanctify it, I would literally just keep rolling. Actually, I would put a perfect what do you call it? Aspect on here. I would put the aspect perfect. I rolled it like 120 times to get 5 to advance. Another thing that's really important is you temper on again on guard ranks or block. The reason this pair is on me is because of the 4 faith per second. This counteracts the fact that this costs 25 primary resource. Basically, with any faith on your items, you negate the negative effect of this costing resource. So yeah, it says, but additionally costs 25 primary resource. When you put faith per second on your items, or it comes that way, it pretty much negates the negative effect of the shard. Again, on guard for block, and then this one sanctified with bonus to daze, which I don't think I don't think I daze anything, but if I do, I guess it does more damage. This is one of those things I hit and I thought it was insano, and then I read it and I'm like, it's just bonus damage whenever I just happen to daze anything, which I don't even think I really do. Another item I wish would have like yellowed. It got legendary to on guard, which is fine. Again, you temper on guard on here. It's sanctified life on hit, which is kind of garbage. However, it does help me get more fortify, because every time the paladin heals above their max life, they get fortify for that amount, which then again feeds back into your skill tree and feeds into more damage. So maybe it's not that bad, but I wish it was something else besides life on hit. But again, cool. CDR, huge thing. Crit strike, huge. And again, if I could unsanctify it, I would max out this aspect too. I've since found all the aspects maxed out, but this is what I guess when I locked the items, which is fine. It showed off that it's insane either way. Here's a fun thing. You think you'd want diamonds in all your jewelry, but you don't. You want 1 fire gem. Here's why. You want your fire resist to always be the highest in this category. And I was wondering why. I found out why. When you're running Hell Tides, Infernal Hordes, and most of the mini bosses, like the boss ladder, fire seems to be the most common damage that all of those deal. So you want 1 ruby in one of your pieces of jewelry. Just get big fire res and you can pretty much just like phase tank bosses. Again, at some point it doesn't matter. Once you get at about 100k toughness, like nothing hurts you anymore. Unless you literally stand still and like let it just kill you, but yeah, the fire resist is again for bosses, because it's the most common damage type in the game. You could put a diamond in here. Who cares? I mean, it would just give you more like spread toughness. But I read a whole thing with a chart and graphs about why you want 1 fire resist. This ring I found just like playing the game, and I looked at it and thought it was garbage until I read like bunch of the stats on here, and like the fact that crit strike, max health, yeah, this ring was insane when I first picked it up. Now looking at it, I can find like a 4G one that was probably better. But the main thing on here is Your ring, you actually want Fortress cooldown reduction because out of all your items, that's the one cooldown that's still going to be kind of long is Fortress. So just slap on Fortress cooldown reduction on here. I sanctified it, get resource cost reduction, which I don't think does anything for me. However, I guess it makes my shard not like consume a bunch. But again, if I could unsanctify it, resanctify it, I would look for anything but the resource cost reduction. And I mean orange critical strike change, so I think that I wouldn't try to roll anything else. Again, I would put a better aspect of the Moonrise on because I've had that cap one now. But what you're really looking for is the attack speed that the Moonrise gives you. The percent damage on that aspect doesn't really. I mean, any damage helps, but this is fine. Shield, another one that's I think fine. Actually, this is really good. I oranged cooldown reduction. I rolled a damage reduction because I looked at all the other stats that I could roll, and I'm like, well, it's a shield. The only thing that makes sense is DR on here. Yeah, I could get like. Looking back, I think it could have gotten crit strike damage, but I'm just like, I've got so much crit strike damage. I'm just gonna throw on the DR. And this, I was at like 90k toughness when I put on the DR on this. Not realizing that I would never die again anyway. So I guess taking 20% less damage from everything is just good, regardless. Well, 18.5, but close enough. And you get a huge cooldown reduction. And it's actually overstated. The 21% chance for Advance to deal double damage, which is what you have to temper on here. It's overkill because the boots give me 87%, and this gives me 20%. Obviously, you want it to equal 100%, but this is like way over. It's over about like 10%, right? That's fine. There is no like triple damage. That's not a thing. But as long as you can get the boots and the shield to equal 100% double damage on advance, you just always do double damage. And then because you crit, it is kind of like a quadruple damage because it does double and then double again. And again, the only thing I would change if I could unsanctify it is I'd put on the perfect Juggernaut's Covenant, which is another required aspect. But it's only 2% off, so it's close enough. Now let's talk about the Mythic Uniques. The order I would get them in is actually, believe it or not, I would get Ring of Starless Skies first. Here's why. Big crit strike chance, and the mythic power reduces your cost. It basically negates the bad effect of the shard entirely. Now, whenever you hit stuff, you actually start gaining faith again instead of losing any. It makes your resource. It changes your resource into something you have to look at, to something you never ever care about again. Again, I masterworked this one a bunch of times. I think I needed like 10k Obdicite to like keep rolling it until it finally rolled in the orange crit strike. Yeah, this was annoying. And then I sanctify it, and it gave me more resource cost reduction, which is like, please, anything else? But this is what I'm stuck with for now. I'm not gonna sit around and grind mythic uniques to try to get like perfect. Not this season, at least not. When they change the system where I might be able to reroll, that I might do, but for now this works. The next one I'm getting in order, actually, believe it or not, is the Air of Perdition. Again, I oranged the crit strike chance on this, like, on my first hit. After, basically, when you masterwork something 25 times, so you can get, like, a final hit, and you can just keep doing that final hit until it rolls to the one you want to orange, which is actually a better system than the old masterwork where you just had to hope. At least now you can keep hitting it until it hits the one you want. But again, once you sanctify it, that sucks that it locks the whole thing. You need a way to roll it one time after it's locked. Like, and you could just keep doing that. Which again should be the scrolls. It's already in the game. It's sanctified with attack speed, which is fine. The reason you want this is because the critical strike chance is so high. All the other stats don't matter, like lucky hit, who cares? I don't use core skills, so who cares? But another thing this does is if you were playing with groups, I might suggest Harlequin Crest, because this doesn't really work in groups. But when you're by solo, it just increases your damage by a flat 60%. It's a multiplier. It's a 0.6 multiplier. So this is the most insane one for like solo play. And then obviously the final mythic unique, Shroud of False Death. This is arguably like one of the best items in the game still. Just because +1 to all passives is like the most insane line they could put on an item. Like, to me, this is like Enigma +1 to teleport. Like, +1 to all passives is like just dumb strong for any class. Again, I hit it a bunch of times until I got all stats. Nothing else on it matters. Maybe max life if you're doing like a bear druid or something. But we're talking about paladin, so yeah, I hit 25 times. Hit it like 4 times to get it per orange all stats. And I sanctified it. I got max life, which is fine. You don't really care about the mythic power. It just helps you when you're running around. The rune words you want: Seer Vex, Heart of the Oak. Basically just gives you +3 ranks to all skills all the time. This one's like mandatory. This other one's optional, I think. Monique say, Monica, I don't know. It's the one that's known as the little spirit wolves. It's just additive damage. Like, they're strong, but I'm starting to notice sometimes they like get in my way and stuff. It's kind of annoying. Yeah, Spirit Wolf's Companion. Again, it's optional. Every god I see has this. I don't know if there's like some kid. I don't know if the wolves gives you like some hidden multiplier or something. It didn't feel that way. It just kind of felt like they were just there. Bonus. Cast. You want Moni because it's cast 2 mobility skills, which is literally every time you cast Advance. So it's like every 2 hits of Advance, you just get a wolf. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's like the easiest rune word to trigger. So that's the gear. That's what you're aiming for. Obviously, grand gems if you can get them. Grand gains of strength. Again, I went over the one fire. The stats that are very important for this build to get to this point. Again, about 100k toughness. You won't die in T4 like to anything. Crit strike chance. 100%. And it's a crit strike build. You're looking for as much of this as you can get. Getting to 100% was a lot harder than I thought. But then what's weird is you get to 100% and then you kind of overcap. Like, you start looking at your items and you're like, wait, I could lose like 2% here, 2% there. But it's like one of those things where you're struggling to get it, and then once you get it, it's always overcapped no matter what you reroll. So I just leave it. Once I hit 100%, I'm just like, I'm just gonna sanctify these and be done with it. Another big stat that matters: block chance is 100%. Basically, blocks reduce 65% of incoming damage. Melee damage does not do damage to you anymore. Like, stuff can just hit you, and it's like the only thing that really hurts you is spell damage. And that's why you're doing like all resistance stuff like that. But yeah, the faster you get 100% block and 100% crit, this build is crazy. I Again, max faith does increase your damage. Faith regen, I think you're shooting for like maybe 3. I'm probably way overcapped on this. 3 on this stat will probably negate the shard entirely. It definitely does with Ring of Star of the Skies, but even if you're playing without Mythic Uniques, I think 3 on here would be fine. Cooldown reduction. A lot of people are asking me, they're like, my friend yesterday's like, why did you get this to 75%? I'm like, because, again, like messing with all the other stats, it makes my other stats go below 100%. And this is close enough. I could try to get it to 75%, but again, because I can't do anything with these, yeah, I just have to live with it for now. The most insane item that I could ever find, ever, like, if I could build a perfect item, like, let's say there was a way to do the Diablo 3 thing where I went and parabolized something or, like, made it exactly what I wanted. I would make this Era of Perdition have the Harlequin Crest power plus this power, because you can actually get 2 mythic unique powers on one item. I would remove the attack speed sanctification and I would put a Harlequin Crest on here, and it would be absolutely like the most bonkers item. Like, I don't even care that it's 1 GA or whatever. If I could get attack speed sanctification on this to be Harlequin Crest, that would be the most insane item I've ever had in a Diablo game. Because then I would get +4 to all skills, I'd cap my cooldown reduction, and I would have the 20 DR from it. It would actually just cap out my last like fun stat. As far as the season goes, I don't know. I think the Paladin's great. Again, I'm a little mad that they put a skill that I've wanted for years, like to work on Barb on a freaking Paladin. You just attack really fast, and it's Frenzy. Yeah, I like playing it. Again, I don't think this is the best Paladin build. I think Blessed Hammers is like broken. I think people playing like Oregon, where you just like walk around and everything dies. I just started out with this build, and I really like how it plays. I've always wanted to play a Frenzy type thing, so that's it. Again, if you ever want to play with me or anything, put my battle tag in like the description. Oh, one last thing I'll talk about the mercenaries. Actually, a couple more things. The mercenaries, they recommend you play with Variana, because when she hits things, she heals you through Bloodthirst. But again, once you get about 100k toughness, nothing hurts you anymore anyway, so healing does nothing for you. Again, I want to grab Subo because he's literally like map hack. He shows you where all the monsters are on the map. You could run Subo and the Val here, the shield guy. The only guy I never plays, I've never picked up Aldkin. I don't even know what he does. He might be good in either of those slots. But again, still only Subo's here because he's map hacks for now, and Variana because I already had her leveled up. The seasonal thing, the divine gifts, I'll just show you where each one goes. Pain, lies, screams, sin, hellfire, squalor, shadows, and anguish. I'm gonna recommend when you're going for certain achievements this season, you switch these. Yesterday I grinded out all the pangs of Duriel I needed for that one season thing. That's the only change I'd make to these. Is switch the Duriel ones when you're in Hell Tides. Otherwise, keep them this way. But this system I think is entirely broken. And here's why. Asmodan 1 takes like literally forever. People were recommending I turn off I'm gonna try this today. But people were recommending I turn off crossplay and go to the PvP zone. And you can get a lot of Asmodean ranks. But I don't know if that's gonna work. We'll try it. Um, but honestly, some they take like way too long to upgrade to 5. Um, I think Blizzard is. I just have a feeling like in the mid-season patch they're gonna change these how they level up, or they're just gonna give them like 10 times the XP they're getting now because it's abysmal. I AFK'd for like yesterday was Christmas Day. I AFK'd for like 8 hours and got this up to rank 2. That's how like bad this system is. Um, yeah, I don't. First off, I don't get. I don't understand how they work. It says rewards double. What? What reward? Why don't? I don't know. I just know I followed the guide and put them in the way it said. Except for, like I said, I had to switch these when I was achievement hunting. But yeah, I put them in the way the guide said, and I've just ran it that way ever since. Yeah, I think that's everything to show off for this season. Um, yeah, I think the game's becoming a much better game in terms of like getting items, crafting the best items, but it's still not there. I don't understand why there's not a way to literally craft my own perfect item the way I want it through like just hard working for it. I don't get it. I don't get why they can't figure that out. Um, this is the best iteration of it they've had so far, but like, come on, guys, we're in season 11, and you still haven't figured out how to just make the ARPGs like the other ones. They got orbs, they got mirror, they got like I don't even play Path of Exile, and I can name like some of the stuff from that game they have. Um, Sockets. I guess they could do more fun things with the sockets in this game. Like imagine if I worked really hard, like played all day, and I could get an item that added another socket to this, right? Doesn't seem like a huge thing, but 72% crit damage is a massive upgrade for me. Imagine if you could get items that you could socket non-traditional things like this. I don't know. I'm just spitballing ideas now, but yeah, that's gonna be it for the guide. Um, yeah, I might go try to get to 300 this season only because they finally changed how the XP works. Killing the boss ladder actually grants like millions of XP now, which makes sense. Issue being is I don't know. It seems like they nerfed the pit run XP, so it seems like you got to do a little more of everything instead of just same thing over and over. Which is ultimately again a better system. Um, so is Diablo 4 getting better? Yes, it's probably back over the hump. I'd say it was falling like to like a 4 out of 10 game to the point I didn't even want to play it last season because like this is horrible. They've had 10 seasons to try to figure it out. Um, I'd give it like a 6 out of 10 now. Uh, yeah, it's okay. Needs a lot of changes still. Um, but at least now it's playable. At least now it's like something I don't look at and be like, okay, I'm not gonna go raid pit 4,000 times. It's actually something I log in and I'm like, okay, I can go kill Thuriel. I can go do a Undercity. I can go run around the open world. I can do a Helltide. You know. Um, but yeah, they need. Please, Blizzard, you desperately need a mapping system. Okay. Just let me craft an item that says, okay, you're going to the Nahatu jungle with 440% density and 2 times XP from like T4. That would be perfect. Just the mapping system would be good. All right, I'm done yapping. Peace.